are you? I hope everybody is doing well. We are live now, it looks like everywhere. Okay. Hi there. And look, we are kind of in a new place. So I thought I'd share. I'm down in the Bay Area today just for a quick little, I've had a quick little turnaround to pick up some supplies and do a little bit of priestessing. And now I'm going to be headed back home today with my supply run and am happy that I got to have a safe visit down here. I'm taking care of a really cute little cat this morning, and so it's nice to be here with Grace. She's a beautiful white cat. She's over there. Let me show. I'm going to show you on the Goddess Temple app so you can see Grace. Do you see her? She's in her little house, or her little kitty perch. So I'm very grateful to Caragwin for letting me stay at her house while she was attending to her mother who passed. And so we're going to be dedicating practice today to Caragwin and her mom and her dad. And we're also going to be dedicating practice today to Helen's husband, Michael, who is having a massive surgery today, and to Max, who has a root canal today. So let's get started with the Heart Sutra. Uttering the sound of the three states of existence, I enter a mystic union of oneness with the entire cosmos. In the three worlds, in the three times, my breath binds the sound. Purifying the body, speech, and mind. I take refuge and invoke the awakened mind of the goddess, who knows all and hears all suffering. The blessed Bodhisattva Aryatara, from the deep practices of the heart's perfect wisdom, understanding that the five elements of consciousness were always empty, instructing her student Shariputra, she says, "In this world of forms, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. Form is not separate from emptiness, and emptiness is not different from form. Always, emptiness is the same as phenomena. Potential or actual form and emptiness never separate. So it is for feelings, conceptions, perceptions, and consciousness. All phenomena, Shariputra, have the characteristics of emptiness. They neither die nor take their birth into existence. Neither are improper nor shining with purity. Neither are complete nor deficient in any way, wanting. So Shariputra, in that emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, conception, perception, nor consciousness. There is no seeing, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, nor thought. Neither are there solid forms, sound, fragrance, sensation, nor conceptual phenomena. No circle of sight, nor is there a sphere of consciousness. There is no knowledge nor ignorance. Neither does ignorance get vanquished nor knowledge voided. No long road into aging and death, and no liberation from it. No causes of suffering nor samsara, no stopping on the journey of joy and suffering. There is no clinging to thoughts nor grasping. There is no attainment of anything, as there's nothing to attain. With blissful practicing of the heart's perfect wisdom, obstructions of mind move clear, and the labyrinthine maze of thought impressions and delusions of duality are liberated. In this way, the blessed Bodhisattva Aryatara enters enlightened transcendence. In the three worlds, all on the Bodhisattva path may practice the heart's perfect wisdom, and in applying it every moment, find the nature of mind and enter enlightenment. So understand and see the mantra of the heart's perfect wisdom as the strongest of sorceries, as the most powerful saying of mystical and sacred speech. It is the mantra which smooths over all things, which disperses lies into its light of truth. This mantra liberates all, and it is said like this: Gate, gate, paragate, porosamgate, bodhi soha. Gone, gone, crossed over and gone, completely gone beyond to the far shore, awakened, and all is good. This ends the heart's perfect wisdom. So we are using this month the Buddha Wisdom Shakti Power Deck by Laura Shanti. We've been enjoying it. It's had so many insights from Buddhism, from the Dharma, particularly Tibetan Buddhism. But Tibetan Buddhism is also connected with Indian Buddhism and Chinese Buddhism, and there's kind of no division really between Buddhisms, even as there are different forms of Buddhisms. And it's just been a nice experience to see the beautiful art. Oh, and today, this is a great follow-up card to our Friday card. Our Friday card was White Mahakala, which, as you might recall, was the bestower of wealth, and especially wealth that helps us help others. Today we have Kubera. So let me hold it up to each screen here so you can see. And there you are, there, and here. So Kubera is riding a horse. He is resplendent, banners streaming. He holds a sword of wisdom similar to the sword of wisdom of Manjushri. But there's a particular spell associated with Kubera that is shared in this book. So I will read it aloud to you. Kubera rides his horse through the twilight sky, guarding the north face of Mount Meru. Thank you, Tara. I have to come back to that comment. Okay. Guarding the north face of Mount Meru, the center of the world. He is serious and somewhat wrathful and intent upon his job. He is dressed warmly to ward off the chill from the mountaintop. His mongoose spills jewels from its mouth, and they scatter like twinkling stars. He is in Ratnasambhava's retinue, the Jewel Buddha family, the Mani family, and so his company gives you an abundance of wealth and beauty. He is one of many in his Buddha's charge, not of noble rank or elevated spiritual practice. In fact, he is one of 8 demon generals in service to a middleman in the ranks, Vairasvana. He goes about his life as a day-to-day blue-collar worker in the spirit world, but he has powers that have made him very popular. To conjure Kubera's aid, one does puja to his magic square, which is a grid of 9 numbers in an arrangement such that each line in the grid adds up to the same sum, 72, for Kubera. The power of magic squares has been known about by all cultures for thousands of years. Albrecht Dürer drew one in the corner of his etching Melancholia. They appear in the Egyptian pyramids, and everywhere that magic is harnessed for people's work. Kubera's horse carries his magic square on his breastplate. So in this magic square, what you would do is you would basically draw a tic-tac-toe board and then put a square around it so that all the lines connect. Then you're going to have to maybe come back to watch this, or you can get a pen and write it down. But you're going to put these numbers: top left corner, 27, middle top, 20, right top, 25, middle left, 22, middle, 24, middle right, 26, middle left, 23, bottom left, 23, sorry, bottom middle, 28, bottom right, 21. And it looks like this. And I will also take a photo of this and put it in the comments on today's practice in the Goddess Temple app and on Facebook. And if you're watching me on YouTube, go look in those places for this. Kubera helps people shift from poverty mentality to wealth mentality, not only of material things, but of time, helping us take the time to stop and appreciate life. Working with him helps the mind transform thought forms, replacing destructive habits with habits that create prosperity. Because of his love of beauty, he celebrates the earth's effulgence, the beauty of nature, and he helps those who are working on behalf of the environment. He's a great patron of aesthetics and the arts, and he knows that surrounding yourself with beauty refines your energetic mechanism. Kubera is an unusual figure in that he is depicted as male, but this doesn't really show the whole picture. He's actually associated with a blending of male and female energies, and he contains them both. So anybody can work with Kubera. You normally would make this square, and then you'd make offerings of 2 bowls of water, some flowers, some incense, a candle, some food or some sweets, some perfume, and then a bell or a drum or cymbals, something that will make a sound for music, a musical sound. And then you might empower this magical square with whatever, I think for your part, whatever techniques you already use to empower magical objects or magical items. And I will look and see if I can find a link to an available Kubera Puja that I can post in the comments today, so that if you'd like to follow that, you can. I can't make any guarantees. I don't know if this is lineage bound material or not, but likely just based on the description, this is not specifically lineage bound material. This is something that probably anybody could do. He's, a well-known and well-petitioned demon king. And here's the thing, it's really important, I think, for us to look at the difference between White Mahakala and Kubera. White Mahakala is depicted as a form of Avalokiteshvara, Guanyin, who's over here today. This is Caradwin's statue of Guanyin. White Mahakala, who we were working with on Friday, is really all about, the true wealth being our connection to the Dharma. But Kubera is here and is like, wealth is wealth. Money is wealth. Beautiful objects are wealth. Stuff is wealth. Possessions are wealth. Attainment is wealth. So, and also, art is wealth. So I would say, I think I feel pretty confident to say that Kubera is a more worldly being than White Mahakala. And that in the practice of any kind of wealth working in the Dharma, you're going to have both the worldly attainments as well as the spiritual attainments. Of the two, the spiritual attainments are considered more valuable because they're ultimately more durable. You can't take any of this with you, as the phrase famously goes. Whatever you have in this life, when you die, it's going to go somewhere to someone. It's not going to be, important that you had an object, owned or possessed anything. It's not going to matter what your body looked like. It's not going to matter if you were pretty. It's not going to matter how many followers you had. It's not going to matter any of that. When you die, the really only thing you can take with you is what you've done to cultivate your spirit. And cultivation of your spirit involves, practice, involves commitment, involves devotion, in bhakti, involves reverence. So today, let's remember that even as we all have to live here on this planet, we all have to eat food, we all have to have roofs over our heads, we all have to make money, we're all human. Let's also remember that um, the, you know, the actual wealth you can take with you is of spirit. That said, all of us want to be comfortable. There's hardly anybody I've ever met who doesn't want to be comfortable and, have food in their belly and a roof over their head and a bed to sleep in and people who love them and art and beauty around them. And it's really important for us to remember that art and beauty can be a gateway into spirit. So as the patron of the arts, I would say Kubera is um, a great practice for any artist or small business person who is trying to get out there and make something of themselves and what they've got to offer. So today, let's see if there's any kind of attainment that we might be able to attract in our worldly sense, but let's not forget the really important part, which is that our spirit is more important to tend than our worldly accomplishments or our worldly possessions. So that is the short bit for today. If that's what you were here for, thanks for coming. And for those who want to stay on and chant to Guan Yin with me, that starts now with 3 prostrations before our statue here. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention for today. We're going to be holding Caragwin, who just lost her mom, and her father, who is struggling with dementia already. And so this is very jarring, maybe more jarring for him in a way than it even would be after their life together. We're holding Helen and her husband, Michael, and Michael is having an important surgery today. And also Max, who is getting a root canal as we speak, I think. So, and of course, any of your own petitions. And let's recite the 4 immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. And I don't have my candle incense because the kitty here is not trained to candles and incense. So we're just going to do the mudras. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering for Guan Xiyin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. And let's now pray for these offerings in a virtual sense to multiply in voluminous clouds, billowing clouds of incense, thousands of lights, water bowls copiously offered. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guan Yin, remain until the end of samsaric existence, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. And now 108 recitations of Namo Guan Xiyin Pusa, as we cultivate in our hearts that true wealth of energy and compassion that can go out into the world, and particularly for all of those who are suffering with poverty in the spirit of Kubera today. Namo Guan Xiyin Pusa, 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 Namo Guan Shi Yin Pusa. 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 And at the same time as we, don't place our major focus on physical wealth in this life, it also can't be kind of ignored that the more we have to give. And so In the spirit of Yeshet Tsogyal, who found ways to transform herself into what's needed, may we all have whatever resources are necessary to be able to help others. Wherever there is space, 5 elements pervade. Wherever the 5 elements, the homes of living beings. Wherever living beings, karma and defilements. Wherever is defilement, my compassion is also. Wherever is the need of beings, there I am to help them. To the hungry, I was heaps of food and all good things, and thus I brought them joy. To the cold and freezing, I was fire and sun warmth, thus their joy. To the poor and needy, I was wealth and riches, thus their joy. To the naked, I was every kind of raiment, thus their joy. To the childless, I was sons and daughters, thus their joy. To those who sought a lover, I was a loving and attractive consort, and thus their joy. To those who wanted magic powers, I gave prowess in the 8 great cities, and thus I brought them joy. To the sick, I was their remedy, and thus their joy. To the anguished, I was all their mind desired, and thus I was their joy. To those hard-pressed by the punishments of despots, I was the loving friend to lead them to the land of peace, and I was thus their joy. To those in fear of wild beasts, I was a haven, thus their joy. To those who fell into the depths, I was their drawing out, and thus their joy. To those tormented in the fires, I was a quenching stream, and thus their joy. To those in prey to any of the elements, I was their medicine, and thus their joy. For those who could not see, I was their eyes and brought them joy. And for those who could not walk, I was feet, and thus their joy. I was a tongue for those who could not speak, and thus I brought them joy. To those in fear of death, I granted immortality, and thus I was their joy. I led the dying on the path of transference and brought them joy. To those who wandered in the bardo state, I was their spirit guide, bringing them to joy. I cooled the burning heat and warmed the cold of those lost in the realms of hell. Howsoever they were tortured, I changed myself to shield them, being thus their joy. To those who lingered in the land of hungry ghosts, I was their food and drink, and thus their joy. I was freedom from oppression and servitude for those caught in the wordless state of beasts, and thus I brought them joy. Those beings born in places of war, I protected them from strife and brought them joy. I was a truce from endless conflict for the demigods, and was thus their joy. The jealous gods I guarded from their bitter fall, and I was thus their joy. I shielded all from everything that tortured them, and was their every joy. And so let's remember that whatever comes to us, we can then use that to ensure that someone else has a little something extra. So 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum, cultivating the joy of non-attachment to wealth and the joy of having something to give and giving it. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 If you've ever had a wonderful thing happen where somebody just out of the blue decided to bestow something for you, some good thing, um, you know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that. If you are the one who bestows, it puts you in that position of feeling like so grateful that you have something to give. It helps cultivate that gratitude in your heart. So remember that there's gratitude on both the giving and the receiving end of generosity. Um, and let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Dechen Yeshe Wangmo. Om Swasti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss Yeshe Wangmo be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. Kitty loved that sound. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin in our hearts. Namo Guanxin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guanyin, bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. And wish me luck as I drive home through the snow today. And I will be back tomorrow. And I'll post a photo of the Kubera Square and I'll go looking for the sadhana. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.